A lot of the buyers are flankers, it's investment banks.
And what's the difference between sponsoring content in a creative way or making advertising?
I automatically went to the 88 bus stop as if I'm going to go home, you know, like where I lived up.
Starting in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Do the whole structure twice, and so in the middle do the improv. Yeah?
So we need to
The
be
last two
inside.
pieces.
Yeah.
So we have a bit of time before
Yeah.
since now, from now.
Yes, you have a bit of time. I start in 5 minutes. And then you have to come in and play the last two pieces with me. I will invite you on stage.
That is the order.
Great. Thank you. I will send you the information.
Have you heard Iraqi music before?
Bits.
Okay.
It's not quite. Yeah, it's not.
This is really.
Have you tried the Sonys? The A7R and the A7S? Slow motion. And then I shot the last gig with the A9, with the Sony A9. And it was actually very easy to use, and it was very, you know,
Is this
like,
mirrorless?
yeah. The A9 is pretty much like the A7R Mark II, but slightly better. The sensor is slightly better. I believe that Canon makes their own sensors, and then Sony makes the sensors for their cameras, and then lots of mobile phones and all the devices, all the brands. They camcorders and video cameras from Leica, but it's only like a few companies manufacturing all the sensors that we use in our devices. So that's like saying in the Renaissance there was only like, maybe 4 different types of cloth and 4 different types of brush. Like,
Now you got all these codecs.
like to the extreme, but
I'm really impressed with
you know
Black Magics.
yeah.
I think they want to spend it on the effects. They'll just shoot Black Magic pocket because they know that they can colourate it really well.
Like you can really play with the color profiles and with the
Don't worry.
with the
Well,
S-logs
they said we want you.
and
they said just send
make it look like you really want it to. It's not like compared to the Alexas and the I don't know, the Alexa Mini or like the proper film cameras, like the Red cameras and the Yari cameras. Like it costs nothing
I know.
in comparison. So you can rent it for let's say 3 weeks and pay for 4 days a week, and then
there's a scene where there's a Middle Eastern
finish your project. If you look back to the first footage that was released on the 5D Mark II and the first 1DX, well, it's actually not that good.
No,
I mean, it looks stunning because it was photographic lenses, and
Oh,
at
it's
that
noisy.
time, at that time, people were using DV cameras. So compared with the DV camera, the photographic look and the photographic lenses did look different. So just because it did look
I actually
different,
like the digital look. I like. You know, remember when Collateral came out?
yeah.
I like that starkness. It's like, and that's kind of gone now. Things are too pretty.
DV is less than HD, so it's not like it's a very small format. But if you watch it on a TV screen, it's actually gonna look great. Like not on a 4K TV,
It was
but
fun to begin with just because it was new, but it was
I don't know. Or if you still watch it on your phone, it's gonna look different.
Yeah.
It's gonna look good.
You know, where they're thinking overly technical, thinking like, oh no, I've got to future-proof myself,
Yeah.
and you're like, graphics cards or something like that.
know each other.
And then the fucking storage of that stuff, Jesus.
Featured artists.
8K files.
Really self-important. You know, the ones where
It's only gonna like the camera's literally gonna pan over you. It's like, oh, you know, like I'll come up to you and you pretend to sell me a bit of meat. And
it's
I'll,
like being a child at a school, isn't it?
yeah.
Let's do this, and then you do this.
It's quite funny.
Yeah. No, I do remember one featured artist, a woman who was just she practiced her pose over and over again. Some pose where she was going to be shown for like a second. It was just ridiculous. I think it's quite stressful, isn't it? It's quite sad.
But I mean, why would you? If you don't take it so seriously, then it's really good fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Rehearsing how they're gonna appear for a couple of seconds.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. They make up their own film within the film. You know? So like the camera literally pans, you know, and that's the shot. And they make up a whole story.
That's weird then, because like it sounds dead competitive. Because I thought it would be
They are very
fun to get on a set and just see the madness of the film set and just see what's going on.
No, they're competitive to get featured, you see, because you get featured artists.
Yeah.
So that they get more than one. Get more than the pan shot. They get about 3 seconds.
Like me and Antonio was on it and a whole bunch of other musicians. But we were hired to play. So
You're not mine. You're actually playing.
Yeah, we
Your
were
sound
actually-
recorded on that.
Yeah. You know, they're not one of us sort of thing. And then there's no more
Yeah,
contact.
musicians are always different.
Or you
on
get funny
concerts,
looks
don't
and
they?
that's better. Yeah.
There's no box to put musicians in on a film.
It's a really bizarre world. But it was good fun.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the filming?
They were filming in, it was like an old boarding school in Kent. But the film, which has been shelved now, because I don't think they're ever going to release it, was set in 17th century Amsterdam during like the whole tulip explosion. So they took over the school and they built like an exact replica of what the centre of Amsterdam looked like during that period, like right behind the school. And they dug like a fake river, and you know, it was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. And even like, you know, the carts had real dead carcasses on them, and everything was real. Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, it was really like they spent a hell of a lot of money on it.
It's like
I've probably read about this because I remember hearing ages ago that there was a film in production on Tulip Mania.
Yeah,
during
it was
that
called
time.
Tulip Fever.
Oh,
And
it's probably that then. That's it.
It's by the same, what was it? Best Marigold Hotel?
Oh, yeah.
Or Best Hotel Marigold or
Best
something like
Marigold Hotel.
Right, yeah. The same people apparently. But it got shelved. I spoke to the musical director last week and he said the director had a massive falling out with the producer, who was Harvey Weinstein, which was pretty awesome because he was on set. And like you go round the back and he's sat on this massive chair, you know, and like he's got all his people around him, he's on the phone, he's like a big king on the throne. But apparently they fell out and he doesn't want his name attached to the project anymore, so they're not going to release it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Did Herzog release Queen of the Desert? Is that
He
been
did,
released?
yeah, he did.
I remember
was
hearing
actually good.
something similar about that. He had a
He
falling out
nearly
with
dropped the
producer.
project a couple of times, and I think that he changed part of the crew, like in the middle of the, while they were like in the middle of the shoot. Like it took him like less than a year, but he changed part of the crew. And the
Because
I
when
think
we
the-
saw him, he said that he was telling us, well, he's showing us behind the scenes and shots, and he says like, well, you know, we've got this massive star cast.
yeah,
He thinks it's Nicole Kidman's best work, and then he said it might not see the light of day. He says, which is such a shame. It's one of his biggest budget films.
It was
and
released.
stuff.
It was released. I mean, it was
Small,
not
though.
Nicole Kidman's best performance, but it was good. It was okay.
He
I think
would
it was.
say that,
I think it was
wouldn't he?
interesting. She wouldn't say that, but you
But
know,
it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
film and it's pretty much there and they never...
it happens to most films.
But the problem is like if it's an independent film, I've been in this situation before where once it gets sort of sold on the film market, then you start getting increments of like payments come through, and people's payments are entirely deferred until it gets sold in the film market. So they could spend like the entire production working for a promise, and then might not get it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. But in Spain, most of the films that get funding and finish filming, like 80% of them, they never make it to
Why
the
not?
cinemas. But it's a long story, but
80%
basically there's this dodgy production system in Spain in which there's lots of dodgy production companies hands on the budget. They apply because the problem is that in Spain it's subsidized, so most films are made because the government pays for it.
Right.
So just because there's lots of one part of the is many things at the same time. So, for example, the previous she was from a film school background, and she had her production company, and she was like drawing lots of public money into her production company and her producing her and releasing her films. And one way of keeping your production means and keeping applying to those public to the public money is I don't want to use harsh language, but just putting down other people that are doing really good stuff, so you keep promoting your stuff, which is not necessarily good or interesting, but just because you've got this political position, you manage to have this artistic projection, just because you can fund it, because you're sitting on both chairs. So when you're not in the political chair, you just sit on the you know what I mean. So if you play,
it's like the watchdogs that are funded and that are like banking watchdogs that are run by the bankers.
So in the end, you don't have a filming industry. What you have is a political game. And the problem with arts and culture in my country is that politics is everywhere. And because we don't have like clean politics as well. Because I mean, politics are everywhere, pretty much in every country. But if your country is a corrupt country, then you've got the worst of both worlds, like a very highly intervention of politics in the cultural sphere, and then you've got corruption as well going along with it. So you've got the worst of both worlds. So that's one thing. And another thing is, these production companies that apply to the budget, that was happening before this woman took over. So what used to happen, like, and I'm talking about over the last 10 years or so, is that you would have this ghost production company that all of a sudden was set up in just give the name of a city, and then they would apply for public money to get this film made. And once they got the film made, it was like, okay, we just have to present some budget with some spending, and if we can justify the money spent, we can actually we don't really need to release the film, because in the law it says that as long as the production has been completed like 80%, that doesn't mean 100%, that means 80%. If for whatever reason we ran out of money or we couldn't finish the film, I mean, you just need a good story, a very competent crew, like the crew that was building the toilet fever thing, and then you pretend to be doing things properly with very skilled technicians and very like the best cinematographers and the best artists that you can get, and then you just don't finish. And then you just come up with a really good story, and then you keep the money that you didn't spend, but you justify it on your budget, and you tell the government, no, I did spend it all, but you're keeping something for yourself. So how many, if you're given, let's say, 10 million, and you keep 1 million to yourself, or you keep 5 million, so that's what they were doing. And there's many films that they were not finished, or they weren't released, or nobody knows the story about it, but it was, and it has been going on for decades, so yeah.
It's strange, because you get good films in Spain. I like Spanish films.
I mean, there's really good films that actually people were like, they had the intention of making a film, but some, like most production companies, they're not interested in films, they're interested in getting the budget. But the few companies that actually wanted to make a film, they did the right thing. But just because you had like really talented filmmakers and really good production companies, there were these other sneaky ones saying, "Oh, we're genuine like them," pretending to be, and hiring sometimes the same people.
Like phantom films are made, aren't they?
I'm gonna go
Like a ghost of a film. Because you always hear about ghost company. Yeah.
So I think I was lucky because I was always working with independent filmmakers, and even though I didn't get paid, what I was doing was genuine.
Oh,
But
there you are.
Great.
But most people that I graduated on the same year, they were working for films that were never released, so they couldn't actually show their work. Like I've been
Can't even
in the
show
art
real or
department.
anything.
I built like a whole replica of whatever. I built an entire massive building of I don't know. I built this medieval blah blah whatever, and then there's no real proof just because that film has never been released. So there's no proof that you were working in the art department because. Is this like a This is like a place for reconciliation and peace. So this is a medieval church.
This isn't going to stay though, is it? If you look at the development that's going on around it, this is endangered.